We don't have an answer for that. We haven't looked at that at all at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other member? May I? And I probably need the assistance of the legal counsels here. Not to answer a question necessarily, but to kind of guide me in the right direction. Under the pledge or security agreement or the guarantee, somewhere in there, I was made aware that in addition to pledging the escrow account, CUC's revenues, in addition to that, anything having to do with CUC, I think even CUC's assets is being pledged in the event of a default. I was made aware that in addition to that, the contractor may even have the rights to public resources. And is anyone here aware of where in the agreement that's in, and maybe just point me in the right direction?
Chair, you know, I haven't actually reviewed the final PPA in depth at this time. So even if I could give it to you, I'd love to give it to you, but I off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, for now, we're going to ask our legal counsel to find that provision. Some lawyer read it and kind of put it out. I think it was in the papers or in the news. But I just wanted to get some kind of verification whether, in fact, that is the case. Is anybody in this house, this chamber, aware of that provision and where it might be? And if, in fact, if it is true? Because oh, yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Stanley Torres.
I think it has come out from a private lawyer statement to the news regarding the lawsuit.
Okay. I think you're right. I think that's where it came from. But you guys are representing CUC in that lawsuit, right?
Chair, my recollection of the PPA is that it is, well, multiple pages. I don't remember if it's 40 pages or 50 pages, but anytime a lawyer deals with a document, unless we are doing specific analysis, typically on that document, it's very hard to pick something like that out of the air.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, John.
There are 3 sets of documents that were supplied to us by the Attorney General's office that cover those questions. One of them is the pledge and security agreement to the power plant agreement. That's a general security agreement giving the power purchase supplier a security interest in all of the assets, basically all of the assets of CUC. Then there's a specific one, which is a security agreement covering the pledge escrow account. And then there's a third one, which is a guarantee by the Commonwealth government to the power purchase agreement. Those are attachments E, F, and G. At least that's what's indicated here on the schedule of documents.
So, John, point us. Which one is it?
On the documents that were supplied by the Attorney General's office, it would be attachments items 6, 7, and 8.
Could you read the relevant provision of the contract? Or that agreement, the guarantee? I think I found it. And if I may, just for the record, under Exhibit C, guarantee, it states, this guarantee as amended, modified or supplemented from time to time. This guarantee dated August 3rd, 2012, made by the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, a United States Commonwealth, the guarantor in favor of Saipan Development LLC. I guess as guarantor, we're basically, as a guarantor, if the CNMI government is guaranteeing this contract, then we are pledging the full faith and credit. Is that could that statement be made, John, in your opinion?
I would like to read the guarantee in detail. I haven't got to it yet. Still looking for it.
Please take your time. John, maybe you can take a look at it as we move on. Perhaps we will take on this issue at a later time with the Attorney General's office. So I'm going to withdraw that question or that issue. I only have one other small detail or small email, short email, very short email, and it is in the front of the documents that we were given, and it's an email from the former Attorney General, Ed Buckingham, to a Miss Lisa A. Archer on Saturday, August 4th at about 3:55 p.m. It's a short two-sentence email. It says, "Thank you for this for these materials. I am currently en route, but also appreciate your engagement in this project of critical importance to the CNMI and of mutual benefit to all concerned parties." Miss Lisa Archer is, I believe, with Keystone, maybe. At least her email references Keystone. Mr. Fletcher, you were also CC copied. Do you know what materials Mr. Buckingham was referring to?
Yes, sir, I do, and I do not know Miss Archer's position, but she is with, I believe that's Keystone Shipping, and that's Mr. Kerr's business, and of course the primary of SDLLC. The attachments on that, and I believe those are included in that folder, were the contract and the contract documents, originally executed by or signed by folks here in CNMI, the governor and former Attorney General.
I see. So these are basically the contract and the related agreements that are being turned over to back to Mr. Buckingham. Miss Lisa responds to Mr. Buckingham and says, Don Kurtz is traveling and has authorized the undersigned, P.W. J. Fisher, Executive Vice President of Keystone, to sign Don's name to the documents relating to the power purchase agreement between Saipan Development LLC and the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation. Attached are fully executed copies of the documents. The date here is very interesting because it ties into another article that we had just finished getting testimonies from different people about, and this is probably right after he left the CNMI. He was served a subpoena, was instructed by FBI agents to appear before the court, and despite the warning, left anyway, got on that flight. As a matter of fact, I think it's on record. He stated something to the effect that he was under direct orders to be on this flight. And that's why when I opened up this document, and this is the first thing I saw, it almost like has dots going from one article to another, leading to another. Mr. Fletcher, when we saw a copy of this agreement in the Senate hearing, as provided by your office, we only had the CNMI government signature. You recall that?
Yeah, yes, I do. I don't believe we supplied that to you, but I do
it
recall
might have
that,
come from
yes.
the administration, right? But it was only, and I think we asked you if you knew if there was another copy that was signed, and you didn't know, and I don't think anybody knew at that time. So I'm just trying to understand how, as of that date, August 4th, 3rd, August 3rd, how it could have been signed on the same day. We now have signed copies of this contract with signatures from both parties, and both parties signed on August 3rd. Are you aware of how that came about? How both parties could sign on the same day when...
Yes, sir, because I believe they were emailed, and this company's in Pennsylvania, so it was August 3rd, possibly when they did that in the Eastern Standard Time.
I see.
Or Eastern Daylight Time, yes, sir.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, okay then. So, I always thought that it had to be originals that was, both parties signed the same document, originals. It doesn't have to be, huh? You can...
I'm not a legal expert or an attorney, sir, but it's my understanding that today PDF copies are accepted as, can be accepted as original.
Consuls, is that true? Or, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. I just want to...
As a general matter, and not about this particular matter, but as a general matter, I'd be happy to say that typically we add a clause to our contracts for what we call counterparts. And in the counterparts clause, it says that you can do this. Now, often the practice I have seen is that people do it anyway. I personally put it in my contracts.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't know that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Do we have any more?
Chair, just a clarification. The email that you just read had to do with P.W.J. Fisher?
That's correct.
And that he was traveling from where?
No, actually, P.J. Yep. No,
Fisher?
Mr. Kurtz was the one. Mr.
Can you reread that email?
Sure. Mr. Buckingham, Don Kurtz is traveling and has authorized the undersigned P.W.J. Fisher, Executive Vice President of Keystone, to sign Don's name to the document relating to the power purchase agreement between Saipan Development LLC and the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation. And
Did it say where Mr. Fisher was going to sign the document, whether here or in Pennsylvania?
I think the councils have already, and Mr. Fletcher has already indicated that the practice does happen. One party can sign it here, and via email the other party could sign it, and I guess they email each other or send the originals later on, right?
If I may, I don't want to make any legal commitment to what, as far as whether the practice is valid. I just want to go so far as to clarify that typically we do have a counterparts clause, and I have seen this happen before.
In other contracts.
In this jurisdiction, in some contracts, I have seen that done. I'm not aware of a challenge to it legally, but that's something that I'd like to reserve and not comment on for this matter.
Thank you. Members, it is 4:20. We have one other witness. Are there any further questions to our witness? No? Okay. By speaker, we'll
Yes,
have the last
Mr.
question.
Chairman, just to remind you to bring up my concern that we will get the latest profit and loss statement. That would reflect, you can get from 2005 to date, whatever you have.
Thank you. We understand. We'll give you whatever we can put our hands on. You betcha.
With that, Mr. Alan Fletcher, Ms. Deb Fisher, and Ms. Rebecca Wrightson, I want to, on behalf of the committee, thank you all for being here, for your patience, and for your cooperation. You exceeded my expectation, and I am very pleasantly surprised and appreciative. Thank you very much. Mr. Fletcher, before I dismiss you, just going back to what we had discussed earlier, I asked that the two legal counsels meet with our legal counsel regarding the confidential, I think is the word, package of information that you'll be turning over to this committee. Please meet with Mr. John Cole to kind of hash out the legalities, if you will. Okay?
Thank you, Chair. We appreciate that. We will do that.
And we will reschedule Mr. Fletcher's testimony regarding the additional information to coincide with the scheduled testimonies of Mr. Gil Burnbridge and Mr. Jim Stump, Ms. Rena Petal, and Mr. Fletcher, I wanted to ask if there's any way we can have Mr. Wallen Young Fung available on Tuesday, October 9th, if he can please make himself available. We can make accommodations such as maybe having him testify first, and when he's done he can, maybe run back to Rhoda or do whatever it is he's doing. If that's a possibility, we would appreciate it.
Yes, sir, and we'll check with his schedule, and he was scheduled to be there the whole month, almost for these upgrades. Is it possible to do that by teleconference? Because he can go to the courthouse or somewhere in Rota in Rota or our office and be available.
I think that we can maybe even do it here, Council. Do we have the capabilities to have a teleconference or maybe even Skype? Okay, so maybe you, Mr. Fletcher, can get back to us as far as when he can make himself available. Preferably if we can do it sometime on that date or thereafter. We probably can't do it LA, do we have some free time in between before August 9th? Or October 9th, rather? How about this? Rather than you stating it, can you please inform Mr. Fletcher at a later point what the dates and times are that are available, and he can check with Mr. Wallen phone, and we can schedule it accordingly. But Mr. Fletcher, you will be available on the 9th, October 9th at 9 a.m. And you're free to bring your counsels as well.
Thank you. I will.
Thank you very much. With that, and unless there's anything else, I am going to dismiss Mr. Fletcher until October 9th at 9 a.m. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Committee.
Let us take a 5-minute break before we go back and continue on with our deliberation.